Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, flying solo. So the Warriors, they lost their seventh straight road game to start the season. They lost to the Kings 122-115. And after a nice win over the Cavs, this is kind of a downer. I talked about how it felt like the Warriors were starting to turn a corner a bit, that maybe a win against Sacramento and then hopefully a win against the Spurs would give them a little bit of a winning streak, some good vibes that they were going and trending in the right direction. We all saw what we saw. It was a lot of the same stuff as before. The young guys, they're still out of the rotation for the most part. The defense is not where it should be. Jordan Poole is having some troubles with his efficiency and his defense and leading that second unit. Klay Thompson is still not exactly who we hoped he would be. And like the Warriors are 0-7. So now their record is 5-8. Understandably, there's a lot of concerns out there amongst the fan base, amongst local media members. And when it's a lot of the same stuff over and over again, that those are questions that need to be answered, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, this game was this game was that. But I'm tired right now of the repetitive stuff. So I just want to talk about some happy Warriors thoughts. Now, I'm not totally ignoring the negative stuff because I've talked about those things game after game thus far, and I've hoped for a turnaround, and we've seen a little bit, but I just want to focus on four positive things because, you read anything on social media, you read any article, and they're highlighting the negative stuff, which is all true, and, stuff needs to be addressed. But for now, just I want to do an episode getting away from a lot of that stuff. So, a fake drum roll. Here are four things that I saw in the Kings game that were relatively positive. First, Jonathan Kuminga got minutes and did not look out of sorts and unplayable. Now, that might be a very low bar at this point, considering all that has been said, all that I've said about Kuminga and what he could be and who he could be and whatnot. His line on the night, 14 minutes, which is a lot for him. 1 for 4 only from the field, 0 for 2, -4 on the night. No rebounds, 1 assist, 3 points. Now, you must be thinking like, dude, can you be less of a homer? And, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he lit it up, that all of a sudden he's like Scotty Barnes out there or anyone else. But, in previous games, we'd seen Kuminga be jittery, unsure, whatever. But he came out there with confidence right away, and he was helpful. He was definitely helpful early on, and I wouldn't put it on him at all that the Warriors lost this game. We all know that it was that second quarter where the Warriors, again, just like in the Kings game the week before, they built up a lead and then the second unit couldn't hold it. And it was weird because the second unit, mostly at fault, it was Jordan Poole coughed up some really bad turnovers, and Anthony Lamb turned a little bit into a pumpkin again. He had some bad plays in that second quarter. He made up for it a little bit in the second half, but that's where it all just went to hell. They had a nice lead, then there was like a 13-point lead, then all of a sudden just gaff after gaff, it was gone. But Jonathan Kuminga, I think that's a positive. I think you can hang your hat on that a little bit. And I know these are small things, right? This is a small thing. So just bear with. Okay. So like if he starts getting comfortable, if he starts getting a little bit more playable, and on defense, Kuminga looked pretty decent out there, especially early on. So I will take that. Second thing, Donte DiVincenzo in his second game back, he looked good. He looked better. He looked like he really fit out there. And it's going to take some time for him to get into a rhythm, especially with the rotations and playing with some of these guys. Because, again, he's new, not that many reps with these dudes. So he played 24 minutes, which is a ton, actually. The most bench minutes for anyone. 1 for 3 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line. His only shot made was a 3-pointer, 5 boards, 2 assists, 5 boards, impressive. 5 points, 0 plus minus on the night. I guess technically that's a positive for this game. He is not Gary Payton II on defense in terms of on ball stuff, but I think, like Draymond talked about how point of attack was a bit of an issue with some of the dribble handoffs that the Kings like to run. And I think part of that is just, you could put Donte DiVincenzo on stuff like that in the future as time goes, as he gets more into the flow of the season, gets his legs under him and whatnot. Again, I've said before, he's not Gary Payton II on defense, but he ain't no slouch. He's a better, more well-rounded player on offense. So, hopefully those things balance out a little bit. The point of attack stuff is disappointing this season because we thought that guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and even a healthier Klay Thompson, a more rested Klay Thompson, could provide a little bit more of that stuff, but that's not happening right now. So Donte DiVincenzo, I think that's a positive. He looked good in his minutes overall. I think he'll continue to get better. Okay, the third thing, which might for most people be a negative, is I think Klay Thompson is getting a little bit better. We've all said that his shot is coming up short, and that's largely probably attributable to the fact that his legs have not been under him, and he didn't play much at all actually during the offseason, and his preseason was pretty short-lived, to be honest. So he was 6 for 16, only 5 for 13 from 3, no free throws, 17 points, 7 boards, impressive, 3 assists. And, the eye test tells me that, and I said this after the Cavs game, when he steps into a shot, when he gets the ball on a break with some forward momentum, those shots are true and they go in. It's when he kind of does something off the bounce, his step backs are coming up pretty short. And that was clearly the case in this Kings game. But it looks like when he's getting his legs under him, his shot is more and more consistent. Now, you might be saying like, well, how is that different from like before? Well, I mean, before, even when he had forward momentum, his shot didn't seem to be going in very much. But, again, this is the eye test. And in this game, when he had his feet set, when he wasn't like, stepping back, when he wasn't coming off like the bounce or anything, when he was moving into a shot, he looked better. And, and then he posted something on Instagram saying like, he believes in himself and all this other stuff and it's coming, whatever. And, it is what it is, but I think he'll get better as the weeks go. You may say like, we need him to be better right now. And that's probably true, but time will tell. And I think he's moving in a positive direction. NBA fans, the NBA action is just getting started, and so are the incredible offers at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA pregame moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. Right now, everyone can earn up to a 100% boost with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same-game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, total rebounds, total points scored, and more. Even though the Warriors have had a rough start, how can you not bet on them? With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And the final thing, the final fourth positive I will take is, I think Andrew Wiggins is having a phenomenal season. Yes, he missed shots at the end of the Kings game, just like everyone else did. The Warriors with their best players out there could not put this game away. They could not catch up when they were down. It is what it is, right? Like this Kings game was that second quarter just execution meltdown and then the inability to hit shots at the end. The Kings aren't a terrible team. They're a decent team. And they have guys who, give the Warriors problems and whatnot. But it was just a question of like not hitting shots when they needed to. And that second quarter, which was just awful. But Andrew Wiggins, I mean, let's just look at him on the season. He's playing 35 minutes a night, averaging 19.3 points, shooting 74% from the free throw line, which is great for him. 5.9 boards, 2.5 assists, 1.1 blocks, 1.4 steals, 38.7% from three, which is pretty solid for Andrew Wiggins, and pretty much 50% from the field in general. So I've said before, if the Warriors don't have Wiggins, they might have like 2 wins on the season right now. I could really, really appreciate the dude. And I think because there's been so much losing and there's been so much inconsistency and there's been so much focus on the young dudes and their inability to rise up to the occasion this season, I think Andrew Wiggins is something that gets overlooked. And this isn't just like, hey, let's look at the bright side of things. But like, these are things, these 4 things, again, not dismissing all the negatives, but these are 4 things that I think are positives moving forward. These are happy Warrior thoughts. As I said before, they play the Spurs on Monday at home. Hopefully they win that one. I fully expect the starters to play, especially after they lost this one. And, this game was a bummer, largely because, the more they lose, the less you'll see Kerr take chances on Wiseman, on, I guess, Moody at this point. And, they need to lock some away. I mean, they need the Spurs game, plain and simple. You can't lose to the Spurs at home and then go to Phoenix on the road. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, the Warriors definitely need to work some stuff out. Again, it's repetitious right now. I see people talking about like, if they're going to lose, play the young guys anyway. And they're not trying to lose. I guarantee you Kerr wanted this game and Kerr wants the Spurs game. They need to rack up some wins, get back to above 500 before they can put guys like Wiseman out there and tinker with what they have. I mean, it's a shame that Domantas Sabonis goes off for like 20 and 22 and you can't get a big body like Wiseman out there to make a difference. We saw Wiseman play against Sabonis and he was fine earlier in the season, but right now it's just not happening. So again, that's a shame. You got these big bodies that you play against, whether it's Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, now Sabonis, and you can't put your own 7-footer out there for any meaningful minutes because it's just how it is. So anyway, I just wanted for this podcast, like it's, not have to repeat a lot of the stuff from before. And not that these positives are blowing sunshine, but I'm just tired of repeating the same stuff. So I wanted to focus on some good things. The Warriors, they get the Spurs, and hopefully this is a W, and hopefully you get some good vibes moving into Phoenix. And that's all I could say. The Warriors are 5-8 right now. The Warriors are in 13th place, 5-8, 2 games above the Lakers, half a game behind the Timberwolves, and 2.5 games behind the Mavericks for the 6th seed. So it's not all doom and gloom, but it's definitely kind of a bummer. But like I said earlier in the season, right, it's going to be rough. It's going to be up and down. And if it's too much to bear with, just step away from your NBA League Pass and tune in like, I don't know, a month or two. See where they're at that point. Right now, it is 13 games in, and I've said 20 games, and that's 7 games away. So we'll see. We'll see where they stand coming up soon. But yeah, quick turnaround, Spurs. All right, well, that is another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Patrick E. Pino or at Oakland Warriors. Check out our YouTube channel where you can watch this episode, youtube.com/Oakland Warriors. Check us out at oaklandwarriors.com, and be sure to tell your fellow Warrior fan friends to tune in and listen. The Oakland Warriors podcast is produced by National Film Society and is a part of the Basketball Podcast Network. And if you're so inclined, please do leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you want to leave us a nice review saying good stuff about the show on Apple Podcasts, that would be hugely, hugely appreciated, and it would be very, very helpful. Thanks. That's it. Music in this episode provided by Paper Sun. Special thanks to Paul Amardo for production support. See you next time.